How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Thanks for hanging out. I am Big Cheds. Today is is it Valentine's Day? Oof, I haven't bought my wife anything. Hopefully I don't get in trouble. I'm Big Cheds from Twitter. That's where you probably know me from. I teach professional technical analysis, Japanese candlestick theory, classical charting, a lot of trading psychology, and I try to take the complicated, the academic, and I try to, make it a little bit more simple for you to understand. I have published 3 books, and I have a 4th book coming this year, The Trading Journal. But I try to make my stuff for free. Like most of what I do is free. So, free version of my cancer memoir is here. Free version of Trading Wisdom is here. And I just started a free version of my 3rd book, the Trading Quotes book. I'm going through, 1 week at a time and explaining the quotes. I really think you folks will like that. That's in the brand new playlist, of course. This is a quick market update. We'll go into this playlist, 15, 20 minutes, just kind of hanging out. No real super agenda, some tweets to talk about. We'll cover, of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana here, and just kind of see what you folks have to say. But if you're looking for full market analysis, I do that twice a week at Bitcoin Live. Wednesday and Sunday night, I do a full market report with the best team in the world that studies crypto. I'm really honored to be part of that team. So for those who are here, thank you for hanging out. I do this on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. If you're new to the channel, let me know how you found the channel. Drop me a message in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. And for returning viewers, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you too. What I'd ask you to do, what I'd like you to do is to give me a good question. Not just, hey, can you look at, Ethereum, but how do I deal with this situation? And what do you think about this? We get some great questions. We have a really smart audience here. I can't read all the questions. I tend to miss them. And I'll go back after the video and I'll watch them. But, while you're here, take the opportunity to ask a question and I'll try to respond. I'll quickly riff on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and I'll check in with the chat room. Bitcoin, not much happening here. I mean, look at the 4 doji. By the way, what's interesting is the plural of doji is doji, which is it's not doji, it's actually just doji. And just kind of sideways. Outside bar doesn't really mean anything because it's sideways. Grinding sideways and, halfway to another doji here with 8 hours left in the candle, a little more than halfway. So Bitcoin's in its range. I really recommend avoiding the chop until we get price interaction with a key level. High time frame is still quite beautiful. Anybody calling top is guessing that maybe they can see the future, but there's nothing there yet. Bears haven't done anything. If you lose 90, you can start to get concerned, but you want to give bulls full benefit of the doubt. You're buying dips. You're definitely buying support in an uptrend as long as it holds. Ethereum, like to see it start to hold 2,700. It's chopping around. Underperformer to Bitcoin. Daily chart is underwhelming. Weekly chart is still pretty good, but really want to see it hold here. You see a very generally described, rising demand trend. Here you want to see that hold. You see high time frame range peak. Ethereum doesn't have that much more to give up before you start to really get worried about it on higher time frame. And Solana looks good. I like it, holding 185. That's a level we want to see to continue to grind higher. Nice MA200. That's a nice looking trend. So, folks, give me some good questions while we build up the chat room. I will keep this going as long as I've got mojo, as long as there's some good questions. I want to create educational content. That's why I do this, entertaining content. And it's a two-way street, so I need you folks. I know I've got some really smart people here in the audience. So let's see. Someone says, what do you think about Trump in this market, the Trump coin? I don't think anything. There's no coin for me yet. There's not enough history. When you have something new that's launched, you can't really do technical analysis on it. You drop into the 1 hour, the 15-minute. There's not enough price history until you minimally have like an MA200. So that's 200 days of price. You really can't even do anything. You have no trend. So I don't really have a comment or thought on the Trump coin. There's no chart. There's no trend. I'm a pure price guy. I don't really look outside the chart. I don't think about the tokenomics, the quote unquote, tokenomics. So I don't really have any value to add on that because to me, it doesn't even really exist yet. I'm not a meme coin trader. I'll trade like Pepe. That's a meme coin. I'll trade like Doge. But those are things with price history, right? It's a really important delineator. So, what's up, Mauricio, Arnique, Daniel, Matej, good to see you again. Skywalk, Migs, Dreamer, and everyone else. So let's see here. Where do you put a stop loss? This is a great question. Well, your stop loss, let's say, so generally speaking, and again, and I highly recommend I didn't mention this, you need to watch the Masterclass tutorial playlist. It will explain to you how to set up your chart, moving averages, how to identify a trade. Your stop loss is when your idea fails. So let's say we have a range here, and let's call this 100, and let's call this whatever, 80. And so you have the price, you're observing it in a well-defined range, and it breaks out. And you take along on the break of like 100. So your stop loss would be if it can't hold 100. Now you do exactly 100, maybe you do 98, but it's going to be essentially at a level where it's going to mean that your idea has failed, right? That's the whole point. If the stop loss is when the idea becomes invalidated, and that's the whole point. So if we're going to apply that in Bitcoin, let's say you see the price dropping. Look at this. What is the low of this wick? Was 89.2, and this one's 91.5. So let's say you're going to start to scale into a long position. Let's say it breaks this range and starts to test range lows. Well, it's an uptrend for sure. As you're looking to buy a dip and it'd be at support, you say, okay, I'm going to start to scale in around like 90K. But if it drops below 89, then that's my stop loss. I'm out. And here's the thing. Okay, let's say you get stopped out, but then let's say your trade idea is revalidated. You can take a long again. I would say at least twice. You can take I would say you should try any trade idea at least twice before giving up, which is why you also want to be careful not to fire all your bullets at once. You want to scale in. Don't take your full position. Because the price doesn't always neatly, just because you draw a box doesn't mean the price is going to like respect it. So your stop loss is when your idea fails, and you want to allow yourself a couple of times to try it if the idea is revalidated. I go into great detail of this in my upcoming book, Trading Journal. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. I hope you do. Yeah, Cliff, got out of H-bar. It's definitely lost a lot of strength. Good to see you, Cliff. I wanted to see it hold 26, 27. And I've been talking to Bitcoin Live around 15, 16 cents range would be the next level down to pay attention. I see you're looking at 17. I think that's reasonable. Chanda says, I think my question is more personal. I don't know what you mean, brother. I mean, if you give me a hint of what it's about, maybe I'd open up DM, but I can't. I love you guys. I hope you know that, but I can't just be DMing everyone. I had a long time follower at DM open, and it turned out to just being like a therapy session, and he'd come and like complain about his mistakes and never changed. I'm like, I keep telling him what to, and it's just enough is enough after a while. So, if you hint at what it's about, maybe I'll take a look at it. Let's see. Can you show an example of a level reclaim? Says Migs. This is a great point. Great question. If you look at Bitcoin on the weekly chart, our daily chart, if you remember back in the prior range here, we have a reclaim. So what we have is a very nice, clear breakdown and recapture. So what happened here? Price knifed through and lost support, lost the prior range low, reclaim, and it came back and did a bullish throwback. So this would be a very clear example of a reclaim. Lower wick, buyer stepped in, right? Buyer stepped in. You love the volume. Volume often indicates a bottom or a top. Volume indicates a momentum pivot. Here would be a very clear breakdown and recapture, Migs. So Take a Pie Forex says, hey, Big Cheds, I appreciate your time. Well, I appreciate your time, buddy. I do make some good charts. However, I really don't know when to buy. I often miss the buy position, the result of fear. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great one. And I think it happens to all of us. And a lot of my work is focused on trading psychology. So I try to address that. You don't have enough confidence. So if you're having trouble pulling the trigger, your position size is too big. Why don't you try entering with a smaller position, Migs? Why don't you just try, not Migs, Take a Pie Forex. Try a smaller Try a smaller, position size. Number one. Number two, you have to, like, if you have don't have confidence, you don't have anything. So then do nothing. And it's okay to miss a trade. There's always going to be another opportunity. It's something you need to work on. You have to have confidence in your ability to execute a plan and manage it if it doesn't work out. So if you've got a really well-defined setup, just play it and make sure you manage it. Know when it fails. If you're buying, in my example, because you think 100 is going to hold, here, if it doesn't hold, don't just, hold it down to 50. Like you're in because of the break of 100. If it fails and it loses it, get out. So and then you say, okay, I took a small loss. I learned something. You should be journaling every trade, writing down ahead of time why you're entering, and then what you learned after the fact. So you can't just be casual about it. Chanda says, CMT certificate's worth it. 1,000. Is it worth it for a job? I don't know about a job, but if you want to learn how to do TA properly, yes. I did this for several years, and I was teaching it for several years before I did CMT. And there were a lot of times where people, and I talk about this many times, where people would say one thing, other people would say another thing, and I wanted to know what the right answer was. And I actually learned who was BSing me. Like by doing CMT, I learned professional technical analysis. I think it's helped me be one of the best in the world at what I do. And I know that sounds egotistical, but it's true. And it allows me to teach you value and teach you the proper way to do things. So I love CMT. It really helped me kick it to the next level. It really gave me a lot of pride and confidence in Bitcoin Live and teaching, world-class TA. And we have Axel, who actually does the classical charting for CMT. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But if you want to learn, like, really how to do it, I see so many big accounts doing TA wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. Like, they're drawing divergence on candle wick, right? Not candle body. It just helped me to learn who knew what they were talking about and who didn't. I love CMT. I highly recommend it. Mauricio says, how do you set your two-level filter? A two-level filter essentially is just a downtrend break, and then you're going to mark some lower high breaks. So, for example, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, a two-level filter, Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? Two-level filter would be a break of like 0.04. You'd be breaking a descending supply trend and then recapturing lost support where a prior or lower high where the price tried to bounce and was rejected. CMT is charted market technician. I did do CMT1. So I have a tweet in here. CMT, I mentioned it, or CMT Association. CMT Association, highly recommended. There's actually 3 levels to it. There's CMT 1, 2, and 3. I only did level 1, but I feel really confident with level 1. And this is an important thing. This is interesting. I put out a really good tweet, and some people got mad being called students. But look, if you went and you learned something professionally and you're willing to teach it to me for free, you can call me a student. That's fine. Like, it was weird, but when I say something like this, I'm about to get academic, and it's important. And so this opened up. This is really the price action gave me a good teaching moment, and it's something I want to talk about here today. So if you look in, we're looking at a pretty kind of boring sideways channel. We already identified the upper and lower range. Look at all the moving averages. They're all sideways, right? MA50, simple MA50, EMA34, MA20, middle Bollinger, EMA8. When moving averages are sideways, it really is not much of a signal. For like a moving average cross doesn't mean anything. So if, like, say this is like, EMA34 and there's the EMA8, like that doesn't mean anything. A moving average cross in a sideways environment is a muted signal. It's a weak signal. I discussed this in Trading Wisdom, and I've talked about it a lot on Twitter, X, or whatever. So the point I want to make is an opportunity to let you know that you want to avoid crossing signals, or even like if there's a hammer candle here, it doesn't mean anything, right? A hammer candle here in sideways doesn't mean anything. You want to move down into a hammer candle, or you want to move up into like a shooting star, a gravestone doji, or something like that. So you always want to understand the environment, the price action environment, when you're interpreting any kind of signal, even an outside bar. And I mentioned this because someone said, oh, the outside bar, but it's an outside bar in sideways. That was your outside bar. It didn't mean anything because it's just chopping sideways. So you want to always, be very careful applying these techniques, using candlesticks or even classical charting technique, outside bar, stuff like that, into taking a look at the environment. So we're noting that all we mean me, my feed, us, moving averages are sideways, price is sideways. Be careful using, crossing signals and stuff like that. Let's check in with the rest of the chat room. See how everybody's doing. A little smaller group today, but that's okay. These are fun. I like to think that some of you are watching every video and some of you are going back and watching old videos, ones you've missed. And that makes me feel good because I'm trying to make everyone educational. I'm trying to make everyone of value. Let's see what people have to say. Looking for some good questions. Folks, give me some good trading questions. I have a couple tweets to go over. This one's interesting. So, I'm seeing fear. JP Morgan's talking about Tether fears. I got to say, it's pretty much 100%. When you see Tether FUD or stablecoin FUD, it's usually, it's a buy signal. It doesn't mean you can buy here in the middle of the channel, of course, but it makes me more bullish. It definitely makes me more bullish to see, tweets about Tether fear and stablecoin fear. You'll see a lot of tweets about why Bitcoin should go down in the future. And I've been seeing it since, 3K Bitcoin, when I started paying attention to Bitcoin back in early to middle 2017. It's because there's going to be a China ban or so-and-so is going to have to sell Bitcoin because of whatever. You should pay attention, maybe look for a buying opportunity coming. People talk about, bears have all these theories of why Bitcoin should go down because the price doesn't give them anything. There's nothing for the bears in the price. So they're trying to come up all these fancy ideas of why it should go down. That's desperation. You definitely want to be looking to buy or waiting for, looking for an opportunity to buy a dip in an uptrend when you see, that type of an environment. All right. Totally not a bot. Why is this very intelligent and valuable channel watched by like 5% of the people who watch every episode of Crypto Banter? I love banter. They're actually helping me out a lot. And actually, it's funny you say that. I actually have, I did a show on banter. I put together like 13 episodes and I am friends with Crypto Man Ran. And Fred, their old producer. I definitely don't agree with all their hosts, and it's definitely not the same type of channel, but like banter's been good to me, so I'm like pro banter and definitely pro Rand. Like Rand's helped me out a lot. Rand gave me a big start back in 2018 when I was going through chemo. He brought me on as like a guest in his show, and I think that really helped me. And then he definitely plugged my Trading Wisdom book, and that helped me. So I get what people say, and yeah, you're right. I think this is the best free. I honestly think I have the best free alpha on Twitter. I mean, this Masterclass tutorial is the number. There's no better like free TA guide on YouTube than my tutorial playlist. I mean, and I know that because I'm one of the few people who've actually studied TA professionally, and I know like who knows what they're talking about. But I mean, maybe they're more entertaining over at banter. They're better at building an audience, and they do content all the time. Number one. Number two, I just started doing, live streams here, or restarted doing it back in November. So I get what you're saying. So those are my thoughts on banter, right? Let's see. Can you look at a 5-year chart on Ethereum? Bo Jenkins, that's a great name. Mr. Bo Jenkins, I'm a huge fan of Bob Dylan. Can you look at the 5-year chart on Ethereum and see if you think that we're had a bottom in the trend? I just looked at that in the weekly though, right? And by the way, it's not a trend line, it's a trend, right? The purpose of a line is to identify a trend. And I just drew it essentially. It's a rising demand trend. It's not about like, do I draw the wick here, the line here? Do I do this? Like none of that matters. It really, really does not matter how you draw the line because the whole point is you're describing a trend of price movement. So we're clearly at the rising demand trend, right? What do you recommend to learn after reading CMT level 1 and 2 and 3? I mean, honestly, you should read the Steve Nissen Japanese Candlestick book. You should read the Shaw Backer or Edwards and McGee classical charting book. You should read Trading Wisdom. You should watch everything that I have on YouTube, and you should do CMT1. I think that's all you really need. I've read the CMT2 textbook. I haven't done the test. It's kind of the same as 1. And I have some friends who are CMT3, and I feel like I out-trade them, I out-analyze them, but that's a different story. I think all you really need is CMT1. Do you evaluate open interest changes in the short term for your trading thesis? Says KR. No. Only thing I look out. These are great questions so far. Only thing I look out outside the chart is sentiment. I don't really, and I understand there's and there's better traders than me out there, better analysts, and they have their own method. This is mine. I don't pay attention to order books or open interest. I generally don't want to dull my senses. I don't want to add in more information other than the price, because all that. Like, why do I need, like, either the price is going to hold support or not. So I don't want to anticipate something that may or may not happen based on information outside of the chart. Sentiment is really key. And maybe I just have a good feel on sentiment because I've used it well. Like, I spotted the day of the price bottom in November 2022. I said, hey, sentiment just bottomed. No price yet, but I'm watching. And then, a few days later, I spotted price bottom, and I told you guys on Twitter, of course. But so sentiment's super valuable. Other than that, though, I'm really not looking outside the chart. That was a really good question. After years in trading crypto, do you believe in cycle theory? No, not really. But I mean, I say that with love because Bob, who's my associate and someone I looked up to quite a bit, he does cycles, and he does really well with it. But like, that's just not my style. I don't believe in predicting out. Like, I don't use Ichimoku cloud, or that's projecting out based on the past. But I don't like to use cycles because I just don't believe, like, there's very little value looking out more than a few days. When you look out more than a few days, like, it's hard to really see anything. And there's exceptions. And yes, I got lucky back here at 40K when I said, hey, we're going to 15, 20K. From where at 40, you just saw it because of momentum. You just saw it's different situations, a failed breakout, an attempt to continue with the trend. I mean, so I saw it here, but that's a very unique situation. I'm not a cycles theory trader. And if that works for you, the good. But I just feel philosophically people want to find methods. They want to find ways to predict out the future. We want to add certainty to the uncertainty. We want to think we can predict or handicap the future. We really can't. So it's just my style. Currently going over again your masterclass. Awesome. I appreciate that. I can't read your name. I think it's in Cyrillic. I think that's how you pronounce the alphabet. I actually, folks, have a new masterclass I'm going to make this year. But it's going to take me a lot of time to prepare for it. I don't just casually do that. That's going to be like an hour and a half long live stream where I'm going to go over everything like beginning to end. So I'm making a list of what to work on, but I'll definitely publish my next book first. I'm going on vacation, so probably summer for the new masterclass. I know Indie Rock keeps asking about it. Chanda says, thanks for the videos. No problem. Appreciate you, brother. What's your education, Matej? I am on my way to getting a master's degree right now in psychology. I decided a few years ago, as some of you may know, I'm a cancer survivor. I wrote about that in my cancer memoir. By the way, all my books are available on Amazon and Audible. I went through kind of a midlife crisis a few years ago where I was like, I've kind of already made it. I feel really good, but I'm alive. Like, what do I want to do the rest of my life? And I was like, you know what? I want to get a black belt and a PhD. So I started on that path, and I'm kind of halfway. I mean, I almost did my master's, and I'm a brown belt now in martial arts. It's helped me to get in better shape, and I can take care of myself now, which is nice. I'm getting a master's degree. I'm learning a lot. I'm trying to publish academic papers. I'm learning some really cool stuff. So that is my academic background. DeMarcus, I'm looking at AMP. Would you consider that candle pattern a cup and handle in weekly? Sure. Or yearly chart? Do we even have yearly? I mean, come on. Yearly, none of these have been around long. Yearly, you need 200 years. Like, there's no trend. Yearly chart? Did you really just ask me about yearly chart? Or maybe you meant like weekly chart, like a year out or something. I don't know. Are you talking about, is this the chart you're talking about? Like, I don't see cup and handle. I don't know what you mean. I mean, cup and handle is a continuation pattern. So you have a move up. And it's a Bitcoin. I mean, cup and handle, I'll show you on Bitcoin. Like, this is a, there we go. There we go. This is a cup and handle. So you have basically a cup and then a handle. And that's your peak. And you take the height and you project it out, right? So it's a continuation pattern, right? Cup and handle is a continuation pattern. The names really don't matter. Like, don't get hung up on names. The only thing you need to know is, like, do I have a well-defined level, right? Like, how well-defined is my price structure? And here you have very well-defined range peak. Price breaks out of it, you're good to go. Like, the whole thing with, like, patterns, don't identify a pattern. Like, identify a level on the chart. Find, like, a good level in the chart. You know, you can use to manage your risk. Like, is this a pattern or not? Patterns are kind of useless. I mean, unless you know what you're doing. It's one of those things where in the beginning you should avoid looking for patterns. Once you get really good, you've read textbooks, you understand how to trade. Wow, look at BNX. That is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's see. I had a tweet about BNX. Look at this. Notable volume cluster. It's a cluster of volume. Look at this accumulation. Beautiful, beautiful accumulation. So you see this move down and then buying, beautiful volume here, accumulation. Now a little bit of consolidation, but you can just, you don't even need the OBV. You know it's going to be rising. Boom, right? Beautiful price gains from overbought. Remember, you're better off buying overbought than selling, right? Because it's a trend, and the biggest price gains come, once you're overbought. But beautiful. There's something about this. Like, this is on my radar now because of this volume. I'd be looking to buy a throwback 50 cents. I'm looking to see what it does up here. I could be even a little bit more aggressive, perhaps, and treat this as an area of interest. It's definitely, this definitely gets my attention. And it was kind of like CRV before it had the failed breakout. CRV had a little bit of that. Let's see here. Little bit of it on the weekly, but not as much volume, but had that kind of a move. There's a lot more volume backing up this move on BNX. So it's definitely on my radar. And I put that out for you folks. I want you to follow strong charts. Talked about BNB. So this is interesting. Strength back into key overhead. So BNB has been one of the strongest charts. I'll get back to the chat room in a second. BNB has been one of the strongest charts. You want to buy dips. You very easily got long here. And this is a recapture. Someone asked about a recapture. A recapture of 600, prior range peak. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Throwback, loss of level recapture. You're already long from 600. But it's a bounce into resistance. And I talk about this in Bitcoin Live as well, where even though it's super strong, even though I'm super bullish, I actually don't expect it to break right through this major level. When you see this type of a price action, it's unlikely to break out straight through, and there it is. Boom. So I was kind of giving you a heads up on the strength back into key overhead. So it's like I'm giving you the full story. False breakdown, recover, but strength into resistance, aka maybe take some profit here or maybe be cautious. And it was rejected. Now you're looking to maybe buy a high or low somewhere, maybe 640, something like that. But that's, I like that I can explain my tweets in these videos. When you see that, pay attention to the wording. So key overhead means it's an underside test, of resistance. We'll keep going for a little bit. It's 30 minutes. I don't mind. These are kind of variety shows. Again, the full market reports are at Bitcoin Live, where I go over everything, and I answer all your questions. And that is that. I already went over Ethereum. What do you think about Ethereum? Do you ever trade a short-term scalp? Absolutely. Do you use leverage? Absolutely. But I keep my leverage very low, like 2 or 3x. I'm not. Some people do more, 50x, 25. I know Big Jonas is he loves his 50x. It's not my style. Like 2 or 3x. Short-term, absolutely. I'll take a trade, and because I'm at the computer a lot most of the time, so I'll take a short-term trade, even if I'm just holding for a couple hours or even less. Any profit is good profit. Any loving is good loving. Let's see. All right. So, and the Greek individual says, could we have a short session, 10-minute standard time, when you explain examples one by one, your ideas and indicators? Yeah, that's the Masterclass webinar. So check that out. So Mr. Roses says, good morning from Buenos Aires. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. If you started again and had a low stack capital to trade, will you still do futures and risk more percentage compound small wins? I would just honestly, small. You have to grind. You got to build up small wins. And here's the thing. If you're just starting out, you don't have any muscle memory. You don't have any experience to build upon. And like, it's this kind of catch-22 where you have to fail in order to succeed later. You have to make mistakes and learn from them. You have to see how you respond to them. So like I would start journaling immediately. And yeah, okay, I'm plugging my new book, which is a trading journal, but it's true. Every trade, you just start writing down why you're entering the trade, how you're feeling, when it will fail. And then you have to bet small amounts and start to get experience. I literally wouldn't even risk $1 before watching this tutorial playlist, like all four videos probably. So like you can respect your money and put in a little bit of effort and get a good background and then try to go practice those things, right? So watch what I'm trying to teach you, and then go practice that stuff. Try to put it into work. Aloha from Hawaii. Aloha to you, my friend. I'd like to go there. All right, folks, this has been, what are we at, 30 minutes. This has been a nice time. This is part of the Quick Market Update series on YouTube. These are kind of, variety show. It really depends on you, the questions you ask. I do a quick, update on Bitcoin. We talked about the daily range, 90K and 107K. We talked about Ethereum's underperformance to Bitcoin. Wanted to see it hold 2,700 and kind of a weak trend though overall. And we talked about Solana. I like Solana above 185. This is part of the Quick Market Update series. Folks, I published 3 books, and the 4th one's on the way, so I'm making my 3rd book free. Check out the Trading Quotes playlist. I already did weeks 1 and 2, right? Weeks 1 and 2 already. I'll do eventually I'm going to do the entire book for free. I love this playlist. I think this is wonderful for trading psychology. If you feel like you're struggling with trading psychology, this is going to be a wonderful playlist for you. So check that out. I do teach professional TA, candlestick theory, and classical charting. I try to explain that to you in the Masterclass tutorial. So watch that. Watch all the rest of my stuff. Free versions of all my books. They're available on Amazon if you want to buy them. If not, check it out for free. I try to make pretty much everything I do for free. But if you want more Bitcoin Live, I do a twice a week full market report. It doesn't matter if I'm sick, I'm traveling, I'm on vacation. I will skip YouTubes here and there for sure, but I will never skip a Bitcoin Live report. Best when you sign up, you get access to the entire team's work. So I just say consider checking that out. Great room today, great questions. If I didn't get to your question, I'm going to do another stream tomorrow, probably 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern. So keep an eye out for that. I really look forward to seeing all you folks then. And, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for taking some of your precious time to hang out with me. Thank you for those who joined the chat room and contributed. I appreciate you. If you didn't contribute, if you didn't say anything, please consider, subscribing and leaving a message next time. And other than that, this was fun. So I'll talk to you soon, and Big Cheds out.